And I want to thank Jill for originally giving me Debbie's name. She had sent me an email a while back. And Debbie Jones graduated with a bachelor's and master's degree from Springfield College. She worked at the Department of Children and Families for the last 4 years, and most recently in the position of foster care recruiter. Prior to this, she worked as a foster parent association in Connecticut for 10 years, which she provided the support to foster and adoptive parents, as well as participated in planned recruitment and retention events. Let's see here. She is married. She has 9 children, 4 of which are adopted. Below, actually, it said 60. I thought that was 60 children, but no. She has worked for the last 10 years and took care of over 60 children. She has 4 of her children are college grads. She has 4 grandchildren, and her husband, Dean, owns American Junkers, which is a junk removal company, which she gave me the information because I'm going to need to work with him. So if we could please give a warm Rotary welcome to Debbie Jones.
Thank you for having me. So my job is to be a foster care recruiter. Has everyone heard of DCF, Department of Children and Families? Does everyone know what we do? So we're a child protective agency. So if a call comes in, say a teacher has concerns because one of her students comes in with something that doesn't look right, a bruise, and the student has just a poor explanation for it, they'll put in what's called a 51A, which is a report saying they suspect something's going on. And then it's our job to take that call and kind of investigate what's going on. So a lot of times we get into the home and we might not, that might be a legitimate thing, but then we see other things going on in the family that just aren't right. So we open up a case and we help the family stay intact. Sometimes that's not always possible. Sometimes there's bigger things and it's dangerous, so we remove kids. It's very traumatic when we remove kids. We don't make those decisions lightly. We have to go to court we have to have an affidavit with listing our reasons to why we're going to remove kids, and the judge gives his stamp of approval. If it's an emergency, say there's a drug bust or something like, and the kids are present, we take them and we go to court later. So once we remove kids, and it's traumatic, like I said, we bring the police with us because we're messing with people's children, and if you have kids, you know, if someone comes to take your kids, you're not going to be like, let me get their bags and their toothbrush. It's usually not a very nice experience. But then we bring them back to the office and we look for foster parents. There's a huge need for foster parents in the state of Connecticut, and especially our community. So I cover, there's 2 offices in Springfield. One's right on High Street, the other one's on Industrial Ave. So just to give you an idea of how many families we deal with, each office has about 150 social workers. Each social worker carries a caseload of 20 to 25 families. So there's about 1,100 kids in our community that are in foster care. And there's not a lot of foster homes. So what we do is we have to, we'll call a foster parent. They might only be licensed for 2 kids. We're asking them, can you take this 3rd one for the night until we can find maybe a family member, maybe another home opens their door, you know, their kid goes home. So a lot of our children move night to night, which is not a good thing. So I'm out here just letting the community know that there is a need for good homes. These kids are great kids. They just come from unfortunate situations that are out of their control. We service kids from newborn, right from the hospital. We take them if they're born drug addicted or drug exposed, right from the hospital, and we service them till 22. Because some of our kids go to college, but they have no home to go to for those winter breaks where they have to leave the campus. So we put them in foster care. The ways that you can help. So we have, to be a foster parent, it's a process. There's training that goes on. Just so you know what kind of situations these kids come from. It just gives you an idea of how to parent a child that's been subjected to trauma. There's a 30-hour training Let me back up. So the first thing you would do is do an inquiry. You show me that you have interest in becoming a foster parent or learning more about the process. Then you do an application. Once I get that application back, we do a background check. So it's criminal, it's DCF history, and it's a sex offender registry. If those all pan out, then I come to your house and I do a home visit, and we look to make sure your home meets our safety standards, and if it doesn't, what you need to do to get it to where it does. It could be as simple as putting outlet covers on your outlets. Then you attend a 30-hour training where you learn what kind of kids we have and working with the department and our expectations, and you're evaluating us too. Is this a place that you want to partner with? And then after that, you get a home study written, which is it's like a biography about your home and about your life, and then you get placed with children. So we need emergency placements. Like I said, we remove kids in the middle of the night. And if there's no homes, we literally sit in the parking lot at Dunkin' Donuts 24 hours until the office opens up in the morning. So we need those kind of homes. We need homes for respite to give our foster parents a break, so you can do short term, like a weekend, a week here, the summer. We need homes for teens desperately. I personally took in a teen. That wasn't my preference, but I took a 12-year-old in. Because I worked in the office, I heard all about, like, they called her the princess, and she was giving the foster parents such a rough time that I said, let me take her, she'll hate it. I have all these kids at home. She was the only child in this home, and it was a very well-to-do home, so they were excited to have her, but they were just smothering her, and she didn't like that. So I said, I won't even know she's in my house. There's too many kids, like, she'll hate it. She'll have to share a bathroom with all these girls, and so I took her for Thanksgiving weekend. And on Sunday, she said, can I talk to you? And I'm like, sure. And she's like, oh, I don't want to leave here. And my husband was like, oh, good going, Deb. You really solved, you're a fix-it. So, and all those things that I heard about her in the office, she didn't display any of that behavior in my home, because I'm not the person next to me. We do things the way we do things, and she fit right in, and she just graduated last week from nursing school. She's just a great, all-around great kid who just needed that stability. But, you know, it's just a matter of just understanding where they came from. Kids need to know where they're going to sleep at night. It's just, if you have grandchildren or your children of your own, just imagine someone removing them and not knowing where they're going to go night to night. It's just a horrible thing. So we're trying to find homes that are stable, loving, treat these kids like they're your own, and just be the biggest role model for them, because a lot of them don't have that. It's a vicious cycle. A lot of, we call them frequent flyers, you know, the parents have been in the system and they just don't know. They never get how to parent right. And teachers, I think, see it too when you have those parent-teacher conferences and it's the same kids whose parents don't show up. It's the same kids that they put the papers on the desk and there's no one to take them home. It's just sad. So we really need foster homes, so these kids don't have to go night to night, that they can find stability. A lot of our kids are adopted by foster parents because the parents aren't doing what they need to do to get their kids back. So that's my spiel. I just go around just for awareness, because I don't think a lot of people know that this happens in our community. And it could be somebody that is in foster care that you don't know that they're in foster care, or that you don't know that they're associated with the department. So that's what I'm doing. So if you guys hear of anybody or any function that I can go speak at or set up a table at with just hand out some information, I would love to hear from you, just so we all know what's going on and know that others need our help. Do you guys have any questions?
How about solutions to the problems that you run into? I know it's a lot of bad stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Are things getting better? Are they getting worse? Or how?
You know, I think things are getting worse with the drugs, unfortunately. And so everything has a trickle effect. If they don't make more programs or easier access to programs for people that are addicted to drugs, I think that, so it's drugs, and it just trickles down to us, because people, as we know, make bad decisions. And we've seen a huge increase in taking children. Right now, one of the offices, that's where I came from. I was an ongoing social worker, so I did a lot of the removals before I got this job. But they take in, I can't even tell you, but every morning they have a list of kids that need homes. And they're on this list because they don't have a permanent foster home. So every morning there's a meeting and they talk about the kids. There's 50 kids a day on that list that we're saying, okay, is there any relatives? We look for relatives first. Is there any relatives? Is there this? Is the relative, okay, they have a criminal history. Is it something that we can waive? Is it something, and that's just the one of the offices. The other office, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that it looks similar. So that's what we're dealing with. So we just, like I said, I can't say it enough. I did it for 10 years. Some days are brighter than others. It's a tough job, but it's consistent. You wake up and you say, today's a new day, and whatever happened yesterday, we can move from it. I haven't had, like I said, I've taken in over 60 kids, and I've really never had anyone that said, thank you for saving me. They're pretty upset when they come to your house. And it's up to you to just calm them down and let them know that things are going to be okay and this wasn't their fault, and we're going to go from there. But it is a need. You can pick, the age of the child you want. You can pick the race. You can pick. We're really whatever will fit into your family. And like I said, you could do it short term, long term. Sometimes we don't know how long kids are going to stay in care, but if we have a mother that we've removed a few children already, we can pretty much predict that we're going to keep this child for a while till they go to the adoption path. So, yes.
Just having had MAP training in the past, my recollection is that first couple of sessions are pretty intense. I mean, I think it's designed to separate the wheat from the chaff, the people that are really interested. So I just put that out so that if somebody thinks they'd like to do it, if you survive those first 2 sessions and you're really serious, they teach you a lot of things that you're going to need to know.
They do, and it is very intense, and it's stuff that you probably never thought of,
Absolutely not.
and you didn't know happened to kids. There's a lot of human trafficking, too. That's another big topic that they're really taking a closer eye on. And then what do you do with these kids once we get them back? We have to find homes for them that they're safe. It's, again, something that's not their fault. But I think as a community, it's our responsibility to kind of help them out so that they can be productive individuals, and we're not taking care of their children. So it's just a vicious cycle. But it is. The MAP training is really informative, and people always balk at me like, oh, 10 weeks, I have all these kids, I'm a great parent. And I'm like, yeah, you are, but you have never taken care of a child that's been abused or neglected. And so you're going to learn ways and behaviors that may come out, and how do you deal with those, and what do you say, and you just be that role model. Be that role model. Yes?
I have a question. If you take in a newborn baby that's on drugs, how do you handle that? Because that would be like having to go to a hospital or something.
Well, they discharge you with instructions. There's just, and that's another thing that you learn in MAP training. Babies that are born drug addicted, they shake, they cry. Sometimes you can't comfort them. You just need a lot of patience. And they end up kind of weaning themselves off because they're withdrawing, which is sad. Pardon me?
Does their brain end up having permanent damage because of that?
I don't know the study on that. I don't know. The kids that I've experienced, they seem to be normal, productive individuals. I think they're more susceptible to drugs if they get to teenage years, but again, I don't have the scientific research. But it's usually, the withdrawal period usually lasts just a few weeks to a few months. Sometimes days, it just depends how frequent the mother did drugs, when was the last time, how often, all that factors in. And the hospital's really good about not discharging until they're at a healthy stage.
you don't have enough foster parents, what happens to the children that you have in placement?
Well, we have, there's DCF foster care, then we have therapeutic foster care, it's intensive foster care, and they're all DCF kids, but we contract them out to take the higher need kids with the more behaviors, with the mental health issues. They get paid more to take care of those kids, so we borrow beds from them. But they can't stay there, so it's one night here. It might be the same home, but every night we have to take their belongings back. If we can't find a home, we call them back up. Can you take them again? We bring all their belongings back, and that's the way that goes. We also have STAR placements, which is more for, I think they take kids like 8 to teenagers, and that's more kind of like a group home type thing. But again, I don't think we want people in families. We don't want them in a place like that. That's our solution, though. And if they can't make it in a family, then that's kind of where that's a mini family, but it's by staff. It's not with a mom and a dad. Yes?
How do you interact with school systems if a child is coming in and out that often, and say one came in and then had to go back out fairly quickly? How badly are they impacted with their education?
So we try to keep kids in school, in the community that they came from. So we, as social workers, pick them up in the morning, bring them to their school, pick them up after school, bring them home. Especially, and a lot factors into that, the time of the year. Like now, we would never take a kid, out of school and move them to a different school because it's May. And we were taking them from their home and their neighborhood. We don't want to take them from their school. That might be that favorite teacher that's in the school or their friends. So we try to keep their life as normal as possible. And if that's possible that we can do that, then we can do that. We've had to go, a couple weeks ago, we didn't have any homes. We had taken in a lot of kids. My friends had to bring a kid to the Cape for the weekend because that was the closest. So we're trying to build up our foster parent system around here. We have a lot, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough. And we want to try to match people. We want to place a kid, look at the kid and see where they're at and put the best fit for your family. And now we're not really able to do those placements like that because there's such a need. We're kind of like calling you up. I know you said 2-year-olds, but how about 7? And sometimes people will say, yes, like I did. I took a 12-year-old. That wasn't my age. I wanted little kids. But I took a chance on her, and it worked out. So, just because you say, one thing, it's not, we're at a need, so we're going to call you for other stuff. And you can say no, absolutely. You can say no. Did they do that for you?
I remember one evening, I was at 2 in the morning, they called and said, we have a child that's been removed because his mother was being pursued, she'd been battered. Mm-hmm. So they arrived at the door with a paper bag, but it wasn't 1, it was 4.
4 kids?
Yeah. They were we need a place for all of them. They didn't tell us it was 4, but we brought them in. I think the amazing thing you find out, the 4 kids were brothers and sisters, and they were scared to death. Mm-hmm. They never had an opportunity to take a bath alone. We gave the oldest one a bath, and he said, well, I need my brother. He'll get his bath, don't worry. Just some of the things that you see, it makes you think, wow, what a terrible thing to have to happen to young kids. But those 4 kids, they were going to school in Springfield, so
Yep.
in the morning I'd take them to school, and my wife was teaching school at the time, so she picked them up from school. But it was, it was just kind of a shocker to see 4 of them show up with a paper bag. They were dirty, hadn't eaten anything. It can really make a difference in their life if you take a chance.
It's just, I took in my son, he was 6, and it was Christmas time, and we went out and got a Christmas tree, where my husband was bringing it in, and he's like, you're bringing a tree in the house? And he was so floored by that, and we're like, yeah, because Santa puts the presents under the tree, and he's like, oh, I heard of Santa, but my mom told me we were never good, so we didn't get any presents. So that was her way of just not buying anything. But stuff you just take for granted that these kids have never seen, or go to the movies, or go out to dinner. I just had someone on my caseload recently, and I brought over, there was 3 kids. This mom, she was a good mom, but she was young. She just didn't have anything, but had the huge heart. She just needed help. And I said, I'm going to bring over Happy Meals. So they were 7, 4, and a baby. So I brought over Happy Meals for the 2 oldest ones, and the kid was so excited that he got a Happy Meal toy. And he's like, my friends have these. Like, I never had one of these before. And I'm like, you're kidding. It bothered me all night. Like, I was like, this is something so silly, and it made his whole life. So he brought it, and he treasured this Happy Meal. She said, oh my God, he loves that. It was just, those toys that we throw out because we have too many of them. But yeah, so it's nice.
Is there an age limit on the foster parents?
No, we don't discriminate.
Cool, Dave.
If you're breathing,
You're not. You're too old.
If you're
Getting there.
nope, if you feel you're able to do it, if you're older and don't have, the stamina to run around after a toddler, maybe a baby is good for you. Maybe those babies that come from the hospital, like, we can find something for you. Like, as long as you're medically, we would have you need a doctor's note to say that you're able to take care of children. But yeah. So if you guys have ever thought about it, now's the time. Anybody else? Thank you.
In appreciation for you speaking to our club, we donate a book in your name to the East Long Meadow Public Library, the Children's Library. And the book is appropriate, Saving Wonder by Mary Knight, and it will have your name on it.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank